Greetings fellow Dogorians and welcome to another Mafia 3 update, and this is an opinion video of what I thought the vehicles and the driving was like in the Mafia gameplay snippets that we saw at Gamescom. And just before I get into what I'm saying, there is going to be a lot more to be shown of this, and there's so much that is able to be changed, in between now and release. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more stuff come out, and then my opinion can be forged completely. But of what I've seen so far, I both love it and hate it. I love the fact that the driving is based off the movie Bullet, and Hayden Blackman said that was their main inspiration for the film, for the driving in the game, sorry. And you can really see that with these cinematic angles that it gives when you're drifting, when you're going around corners. It does that little pullback where you can go around the corner. It gives it that extra cinematic view. It doesn't give it completely where it looks where you kind of hard to control. You can still control the car, but it just looks cool and it looks enjoyable to be in. And I also really love the speedometer on the bottom and the winch and the back mirror on the top of the screen, because it's going to be like driving a normal car where you can just flick your eyes down to see the speed, not into a corner like you had to in Mafia 2. You just flick your eyes down, and if you want to look behind you, you're not pushing a button to zoom to twist the car around and then you can't see anything in front of you. You can just flick your eyes up and get a view, which is something that I think every game that involves driving like this should have, because it looks like a really useful feature. And a cool thing that I really like about it, and something that Hayden Blackman was really excited about in his recent interview with Game Reactor, which you can see on the channel, and you can get a link to the interview in the description below, is the fact that the mirror expands when something happens in the background. So say when like a little cutscene happens, or a car explodes, or something goes out on the street. Something happens to the car where you've done something. It will get a little bit bigger. It will show you in there, so you can just quickly divert your eyes upwards, and then not really lose track of where you were, because you can keep your eyes on both, like you would in a normal car, which I really enjoy. But a couple of things that I didn't enjoy was mainly the damage the car was taking wasn't enough for me, because we saw him go over the ramp in the gameplay and then land, and then he obviously takes a hit to the front of the car. And this could be changed in later development, and I hope it is, but the car seemed to go away flawlessly after that. Whereas in Mafia 2, the front of the car would have taken some damage, and most games, the front of the car would have taken some damage, and I feel like the car should have taken some damage in this. And I also feel like I feel like the driving feels a little bit like Crazy Taxi. If you look, not feels like, but looks a bit like Crazy Taxi. It's a bit in and out, and it feels like you can bash into things and then not really face the consequences of it. And one of my favourite things about Mafia 2 was the idea that the cop cars will fine you for going too quick or driving recklessly. They'll pull you over and fine you. And I know it was a stupid thing, but with Mafia 3, I've got a feeling that that's not going to be in there. That's not been confirmed, and I hope to hear news on that in the future, but I hope that's going to be in there. But it does take away the idea of the vehicle combat that they've got in the game. Okay, so the vehicle combat is back for Mafia 3. That's been lost since the first Mafia. It was only a small feature in Mafia 1, and then ditched completely in Mafia 2. The closest you got was with Joe leaning out the mirror in one of the missions, where he'd shoot the car behind you while you drive the car. Whereas with Mafia 3 now, you can shoot with yourself, because Lincoln is a Special Forces trained person, and he's able to do that. But one thing I didn't like was the arrows pointing to the tyres. And I could understand when you shoot the tyres, they do go up into the air or whatever, and every so often there is an explosion, but judging by what I saw, it's going to be a little too often. It's going to be cool. There's going to be a lot of times where I feel like the cars are going to explode, and there's going to be flipping cars, like a film. But in a game, I think it will be at the point where once you get too much of a good thing, it gets sour. And I think that's going to be the case with Mafia 3, and I hope they do tone it down. And one thing I definitely really desperately want them to tone down, this was my least favourite part, and it wasn't part of the driving, it was when Lincoln cleared his shotgun, and he literally fired one shot at the car and it exploded. Just one shot. Not aiming for a certain place on the car, it wasn't aiming for the fuel gauge or anything, he just shot at the car and it blew up. I preferred it in Mafia 2 when you could shoot the fuel gauge, and then that would set it on fire and make it blow up that way. I just want them to tone the explosions and the extravaganza parts a bit down more, turn it down a bit more, because it does look a bit too much for me, and I have no problems with them going over the top a bit more, and I do want them to, but just bring it down a bit, you know. Don't go incredibly over the top. Don't go crazy taxi style. Bring it down a little bit, and then I'll be completely fine with it. And this can all be changed, like I said before. Everything that I've been saying at this point, it is being able to change, and I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff on the cars and seeing hopefully more drive-by, you know, video. Hopefully there'll be a whole video on the driving, which will be good. And yeah, I think that's everything. So leave your comments below of what you think of the driving in the game. If you like the explosion, if you like it going a bit more over the top, if you're a fan of it, leave it in the comments below. Also, what do you think of the new features in the driving, like the wind mirror and the speedometer at the bottom of the screen? If you're a fan of that. Also, the fact that now vehicle combat's back, are you a fan of that? Also, if you liked the video, then check out the other stuff I've got. I did a gameplay analysis of the gameplay snippets that were released at gamescom. And also, if you're a fan of what you saw here, I've got some good stuff coming up. I've got the Mafia 2 Let's Play episodes coming out, and a lot more news updates and speculation, rumours, and everything. There's a lot of stuff coming out, so please subscribe if you like the sound of that, and also like the video and subscribe to join the fellow Degorans.